Okay, apologies guys. The film has ended, didn't notice. Just getting some things going on the side here. Hello. Almost 150 people watching right now. Holy cow, guys. We're just getting started with some early round games. I am in now with Crabling and Loopy. This is, let's see, what round are we even on here? For those of you guys who want to follow the bracket, I posted it, I believe, in the description. Let me just double check. I might have forgot. Have been managing a lot of things today. Oh, I didn't even put it on there, but that's okay. So I'm going to update that right now. And I'll get the rules there in a second. Give me just a minute, guys. But, yeah, so for those of you guys who want to follow the bracket, to answer your question, yes, even if you don't sign up, if you want to follow the bracket, you know, watch your favorite players, ones you know and love, see how far they can take it. Bracket's there. You can absolutely have a look at it. Of course, the rules... you know what, rather than having it be in the description, you can just find the rules at the bracket themselves in terms of picking bans, the army limits, everything else. So yeah. Oh, there was definitely a portion in there for the greenskins. It was just pretty short. Like, that was actually, some of you might have recognized that hype film if you know my most viewed video of all time. It is basically just my picking a faction video, but I changed it up a little bit, removed the voice, some of the graphics and such, and just, you know, left the music and sort of the highlight reel film. The Greenskins portion of that video was actually pretty short, so as a result, unfortunately, the Green Boys, their appearance in that wasn't overly long, but they were there. Yeah. Yeah, hello, welcome again, everyone. Big thanks to CA for the Creative Assembly, for allowing us to select the next qualifiers. I guess the qualifiants, that's not entrance. Qualifiants is not a word. Anyway, you know what I mean. The players, the contenders, the challengers in the next Ever Chosen Invitational. We'll see who ends up being my champion for today. We've been through a good portion of the tournament already, all things considered. I may have to kind of do some adminning stuff here and there, back and forth, so I apologize if that's the case. These early round games are just kind of hanging out for the most part, seeing what we can do. But, yeah, let me go ahead and just make sure... got this going here. We are going to get some mid-round music provided by, of course, the Medieval 2 soundtrack. I'll also try and get some other soundtracks sorted if I can as we go along. But let's go ahead and do that for now. Alright, Shadow Online Gaming, good to see you, man. Yeah, I'm honored, honestly, I'm honored. Yeah, means a lot to me. Put a lot of time into casting games on my channel, just have a lot of love for the game. And it's great, man. This game is, like, someone who's played since Warhammer 1, just even all the Total War games, too, like, since the beginning. Like, the franchise itself has come so far, and even just within this, like, sub-series of Warhammer, it's grown and evolved, and the community that's here now, everyone together, it's so cool to see. I'm honored to be a part of it. So, yeah. Crabling versus Loopy. It looks like we've got Crabling on Empire, Loopy on Wood Elves. So these guys are just getting their army picks locked in. I believe I have a blocker up, but let me just double check here. Yeah, we're gonna go for Dance and Warzag as the army blocker, as is usual. It's a little bit of a swift jig for this particular tune, but it'll sync up with some of the other tracks that will come through. Oh yeah, just looking at sound levels and everything. We're looking good today, guys. We're looking good. Actually, can't even hear Dance and Warzag to see how loud that is, so I apologize if Warzag and the lads absolutely going ham. Oh yeah, should be good. So let me get the scoreboard in here. Yeah, let me just take care of some English. Let me just take care of some admin stuff real quick. While these guys are loading in, So I apologize. I'm going to mute my mic so you don't have to listen to my keyboard, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm returned, and you know what? We're going to hide the scoreboard for now, because we'll be using that later on once we get to the semifinals and stuff, and it's a little bit more kind of structured. At this point, we're going to be jumping in between rounds, and it'll be kind of, you know, we might not get all of the games of a specific series because, you know, we're just kind of getting in and out of these games as they go through the initial rounds. There's not really, I don't want to give a specific structure for me to have to follow because it would slow down the tournament if people have to wait for me and so on. So okay, yeah, sorry. Just making sure I take care of a few things here. But let's take a look. These guys are already on their way. We've got Marcus Wolfheart on the field for Crabling, Gladelord for Loopy. Looks like a Light Wizard here, Demigryph Knights, a Hellstorm Rocket Batteries. Pretty interesting choice. Bunch of Crossbowmen. I like that quite a bit, actually. Crossbowmen, very cost-effective in general. Nice range and Arc of Fire. Knights the Blazing Sun here for Loopy. Bunch of Glade Riders with Hagbane tips to be expected. Way Watchers, yep. Gladelord, Branch Wraith, ooh, nasty net there on the Gladelord. That's going to be pretty bad as Marcus starts to make contact. He himself could get sniped, though, by Way Watchers. Ooh, nice little, what is that, the Scorch or Blast or whatever? That scroll that the Battle Wizards have. We've got Dryads in the back, some Eternal Guards, so all in on the Lord Snipe right away. Yeah. Yeah. It's looking pretty good so far for the Empire. I mean, the damage on Gladelord was pretty significant. Marcus also took quite a bit of damage, but the Gladelord can heal. In terms of caster, it's only light for Empire, so Marcus does have to be careful not to take too much damage because he can't heal himself back up. But the Hellstorm definitely needs to be emptying out its ammo right now. I think a little bit of a mistake by Crabling, having it be mistargeted there. But at the same time, he's doing a good job kind of zoning these Way Watchers out. They're not really able to get close enough to fire at the Sunmaker. They do still have plenty of ammo. Loopy's doing a good job kind of conserving there. He dumped on one of those crossbowmen. Looks like he might dump on another one, but nice contact from the Sunmaker there on those Wild Riders with shields. Yeah, Royal Altdorf Gryphites, Demigryph Knights with Halberds, just kind of hanging around, protecting this back line. This map is pretty good for artillery factions, and you can kind of set up using this little tower and woods as cover, but of course this woods is fine for the Wood Elves. They'll fight actually just fine, all of their units in these woods, so providing a little bit of cover against these arrows is definitely something, but so far the Hellstorm definitely hasn't paid for itself. Crabling, absolute champ for taking it here, but Loopy's build pretty smart, pretty, I would want to say meta, just kind of like, you know, what you would expect. Excuse me, but nice Shems Burning Gaze there. more decent contact with the Hellstorm rocket battery, but yeah, it's very expensive for what it gives you, and now these Glade Riders being in range to fire at the artillery themselves, they've blown up one of the models of the artillery. It's down to just 2 models there. Still will be getting off some shots, but the Knights of Blazing Sun definitely want to phase here and push. The Hagbane tips there, get caught up by spears and crossbows and taken out. But some nice, really nice hits there with the rocket battery. Beautiful stuff. Hey, screen blocker. Oh, man. Turin, I didn't even have my chat up. My bad. Wurzag is just absolutely trolling. There we go. Oh, my bad. This is why I shouldn't try and admin and stream at the same time. Anyway. Yeah, if from now on, Turin, if you wouldn't mind, just like, if I have admin stuff, can I just pass it off to you? Like, I don't know, because I have a hard time, especially when I'm in battles. In between battles, it's not a big deal at all, but yeah, anyway. The Glade Riders pushing this back line here, doing just fine, mopping up a lot of these crossbowmen and such. The Royal Altar of Gryphites also took a lot of damage. It's a pretty expensive unit to take without any sort of healing. Balance of Power is still within range. It's pretty close, and definitely Marcus being healthy, a big part of this. Yeah. We've got some Way Watchers here. They still have enough models and ammo to be impactful. Let's see, 30 models there, 33 models there. Definitely still quite a bit of ammo left. And those Knights of the Blazing Sun now getting sandwiched between multiple Wild Riders over on the far side. As these Glade Riders start to get cleaned up a little bit, these shielded spears definitely been MVPs. But yeah, now Marcus is feeling the pain. The Glady, sick of being sniped the whole game, is going to reverse the snipe attempt, but here comes another Shem's Burning Gaze and actually clips the Glady there, fully takes her down. So Marcus now, if he can get away from these Way Watchers, has a chance to tank this out, and you can see that has affected the Elf leadership somewhat. Not too much. A lot of these units are doing just fine, but Royal Altar of Gryphites back on station. Very nicely placed and timed Shem's Burning Gaze there. Marcus was literally about to meet his doom. So... a pretty wild one. At the same time, the crossbows are starting to be cleaned up for the most part. There's not really any left on the field. A few Knights of the Blazing Sun do come back here, though. They can maybe catch up those Wild Riders. Do some damage there. The crossbowmen here actually firing into the Dryads. This is pretty good. The like decent AP values here, combined with the not great armor of the Dryads, did equate to some good damage, but the Dryad's fast speed means they'll be able to get into contact. Yeah, Way Watchers, Marcus just can't get away from the Way Watchers at this point. He's going to be in visibility because of the, Glade Riders and various other Wood Elf troops in this area. The Way Watchers right now are not focusing him, just, prolonging his slow, painful death, which is a very elf thing to do. But finishing off those Knights of Blazing Sun there. Marcus himself, yep, here it comes. That's going to be it. Oh, barely alive after that. He's got 300 HP, so he'll rout, which is fine. The Dryads ended up routing over here. Light Wizard kind of barely stabilizing things in terms of the balance of power, but I think critical army losses is imminent at this point for the Empire, especially with these crossbows getting taken out. Beautiful charge by these Glade Riders. Nice back and forth game. Definitely very good stuff. Oh yeah, that Shem's Burning Gaze, that was a nasty, nasty hit right there. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough at the end of the day. Marcus just getting a little bit overwhelmed. The crossbows were a good idea, but I don't know that you would want to go that deep. 5 is a lot to have to protect. And maybe just Pistoliers. I mean... I know. Pistoliers, but hear me out here. If you were to cut, I would probably cut 2 of these crossbowmen, decrease Chevron somewhat for the Spearmen to get back the funds I need, and just take the Pistoliers to be able to contest that light cavalry game. Because what was pretty decisive for Loopy here, you could see these Glade Riders, 112 kills, 91 kills, getting into that back line, taking out the Hellstorm rocket battery, and just mopping up a lot of those crossbowmen. If you were able to protect that backline a little bit better, just with a little bit of volume of heavy cavalry, maybe hide him in the woods there until the Glade Riders show up, wheel out and try and bust him at close range, or even just chase him to the edge of the map there, maybe end up losing. But if you can at least zone and screen for a decent amount of time, let these crossbowmen pay for themselves against the rest of this army here. Maybe it turns out differently, but definitely credit to Loopy. He played that excellently. keeping his Glady alive, you know, pulling back from the snipe attempts up until, obviously, that nasty Shem's Burning Gaze, but at that point he had done enough, or she had done enough, and he, you know what I mean. But great job with those Glade Riders, excellent light cavalry play there, and yeah, Eternal Guards did okay in the front line, Dryads mopping up some units in the back line as well, using that fast speed. Good stuff. GG, Screen Blocker won it. Excellent. Oh, yeah. Not really, actually. Swordsmen, you say they lose hard. They don't, actually. They can win maybe, like, 3 out of 10 engagements, I would say. Or I guess that would be 1 out of 3 engagements if you reduce it properly. No, that's not right. Yeah, 3 out of 10 engagements. I haven't tested it in a while, but it's the thing about this game is you can't just say this unit always beats this unit if there's any kind of parity between their stats, because it will be both, basically, right? Excuse me. So you kind of have to check different things, and yeah, it's different. Different stats matter for different engagements. Like the Dryads, you might say on paper they cause fear. They have, decent weapon strength, although I think Empire Swordsmen are pretty comparable on that front. Like, they do have better armor, but their melee stats, even with Frenzy, are actually not as good. In particular, their melee defense. I'd have to check offhand, but I'm also just showing some builds here. Let me go ahead and throw up Blocker again, and I will not forget this time, I swear. There we go, a little bit of music. The music is supposed to remind me to turn Warzag off as well, but there we go. 200 people here watching. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Game 2 between Crabling and Loopy. Loopy taking the win first with the Wood Elves, now going for the High Elves against Crabling's Beastmen. So let's see what they can do. The Hellstorm, I don't necessarily hate the pick of the Hellstorm. It's just going to be tough to protect because it's pretty expensive. Sunmaker, it's helpful in that it dumps its ammo so fast that either it will pay for itself or it won't pretty quickly. Like, you'll know pretty quickly. So that is an advantage. It's just, with the Wood Elves, the biggest thing you have to protect is against counter-ranged, like, mid-range skirmish. Like Bowman, like we saw there, shooting the artillery crew is easily the best way to deal with that for Wood Elves. You have, I mean, Waystalkers as well. Heirs of Kurnos is not 100% reliable, but if you can get in range with some Waywatchers or Blade Riders or whatever, shoot the artillery crew, and usually in that case the artillery themselves will take a bunch of damage and blow up, because that, you know, makes sense. Spiking the guns with your bows. I will forget, probably. At one point, again today, probably. Haven't had enough coffee. Yeah, and on that map, because of the slope there, I would say a cannon would have been a more cost-effective pick. One nice thing about the Hellstorm is, on a map with a weird, like, slope where both players would have to potentially go up a hill to fight each other, the Hellstorm allows you to sit back on the other side of the hill and still shoot up and over much more effectively than a mortar. I mean, mortars can do it very cheaply, but they're not super effective, to be honest. They are pretty cheap. It's not a lot for them to pay for themselves, but... Alright, looks like they're loading it already. Let's go ahead and not forget. And thank you, Warzag. Galbaraz is the map here, out in the Badlands. Got a little bit of swamp. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, if any of you guys are new to the channel, first time here, definitely subscribe if you like Total War Warhammer multiplayer, because that is what I do here. And speaking of which, let's dive straight into the builds. We'll start with the Elfies this time. Eltharion the Grim. Wow, Loopy coming in with a wild pick. This is a pretty wild pick. I mean, there is some merit to this, especially in this matchup. You've got a Terror Flying Lord that's relatively cheap. He's not going to be challenged in the air, and he's got a decent spell loadout. Soul Quench is okay for taking out Chariot Lords and such. Apotheosis is decent for healing. He doesn't have Arcane Conduit, though, which is a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, Fear and Terror, he's still pretty expensive for what he does give you, though, which is why I'm not that big of a fan. But we'll see how he does here. Illyrian Reaver Archers, Silver Helms with shields, Rangers, Eco Claw Bolt Throwers. On the other side of the field for the Beastmen, double Cygor, including the Eye of Morsleep. Hang on, is this legal? No, because they're both 1,600 base price, right? Hang on. Let me check real quick. I'll just shoot someone a message. I mean, I could pull up the banner rules, which I actually have them right here, so let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it's fine. Looks like they're gonna play, but I'll just quickly double check here. Okay, there's that. Give a nice view of the artillery duel that's about to unfold as this starts up. Army restrictions. Oh no, it's just, it's not the ROR rule, that's right, it's the cost caps rule, and because Cygors are actually below 1,600 base price, this is actually legal. Okay, so double Cygor is legal. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Interesting, but yeah, we've got double Cygor, Korok Spanrippers, Spears, Pigs, a bunch of Ungor Raiders, very good units. Morgar the Shadow Gave, I believe that was a Lore of Beasts caster I saw somewhere. Or, sorry, Lore of Wild. Or, what was that, more Cygor summons? No, that's not the Cygor summon, what is that? Is that Evolve? Raiderkin, interesting, I guess to take on enemy heavy cavalry, but Eltharion dives in right away, gets very aggressive. He's going to get the Warp Gaze from the Eye of Morsleep there to pin him in place. Fang Sword and Apotheosis also been dropped. The Silver Helms go in to bail him out. Oh, but the Warp Gaze, or no, Traderkin actually slows him down significantly. Not enough to keep him on the ground, but will do a decent amount of damage also to them and the Silver Helms, or him and the Silver Helms, rather. I guess it's him and his mount. You could call them them. Yeah, this is also not great for the Silver Helms here, taking the countercharge of the Pigs with the Spear support, plus the Raiders providing some really nice counterfire here. So Crabling, very good so far. The Warlocks Manrippers have taken some damage, and Eltharion, the thing about Eltharion is with that Apotheosis, he can almost be like a Boris in a way, right? Like a self-healing Griffin Lord, except he's your caster, so it is eating up your magic as well. But it's probably objectively not as good as Boris. I don't know, maybe you say it's better because you can bring your caster Lord in one, then that's cheaper, but anyway. Yeah, at this point though, a lot of these pigs are going to overextend a little bit. Loopy's able to draw some out of position, and the bolt throwers in the meanwhile are just kind of plodding away here. The thing about these Reaver Archers is you can see how they've used up a lot of their ammo, and Crabling's able to kind of screen them out. They don't have that much ammo, and their bows don't do that much damage anyway, so with them being kind of zoned and screened like this, it's going to be a lot tougher to take out the Cygors without them. They would definitely want to be almost exclusively using their ammo on the Cygors, but it's going to be tough. I don't know, they might still be in range there. Casts are getting chased away. Korok's Manrippers are going to be able to kind of get up and around Eltharion here, and with the pigs helping to trap him in. Oh, another Warp Gaze here as well. He's going to pop Apotheosis, try and shrug off some of that damage, or at least heal through it. And Morgar now gets surrounded by Rangers, which is actually potentially kind of bad for him. We'll see. Looks like I have Morslip come out over to help block some of these cav charges, keep those... I guess not really. Just use the Raiders as chaff, and then block a charge there. It looks like we are going to see a spawn summons as well. Try and get some poison on these Silver Helms to keep them within the speed of the Razorcore Herd, but it looks like they are going to be able to get away there. Rangers versus Korok's Manrippers. I literally have never seen this fight yet in the game, so let's just take a close-up to appreciate Glaive dudes, you know, beast dudes fighting elves with dual swords. Actually, probably an okay engagement for the Rangers, even though they will lose there. The spawn summon comes over here to just crush this unit of Rangers very quickly, and Eltharion gets down again, pinned by the crabs once more. This is, or not the crabs, the pigs. Have I said crabs a couple times? I'm feeling fishy today. Anyway, yeah, the Eye of Morslib comes in, is also going to get an attack, and the pigs, because they have very good mass, they can actually keep Eltharion mostly pinned in here. He does have a lane he could maybe squeak out over to this side, but Silverhelm's now coming to bail him out once more. Eltharion's almost at his healing cap, but they're going to get some okay damage on the Razorgore herds on that charge there. The Reavers also lining up, still conserving their ammo as much as possible, just not biting while they're being zoned there. Now they do get some really nice damage on the Eye of Morslib, all using their volleys. You got to be really careful with Reaver's ammo, the Bow Reaver's ammo, like I said. Loopy's trying his best to do so here. The Raiders come in, though. They're going to get some damage. And look at that. The Cygor Rock just chucks straight at him. Kills like 10 models almost, straight up. That's brutal stuff. Cygors, of course, are like, oh, you shoot me? No, no, no. I shoot you. And by shoot, I mean throw a giant boulder into this Cav blob. Oh, man, that's going to be value train right there. Both Cygors just smashing that Elf Cavalry. So it looks like we're going to have a full 3-game series here, which, to be honest, I could have expected with these two players. Both very, very good players, as we have seen. So another nice Cygor shot there. Rangers coming in to try and mop up what's left of these Ungor spears. If they could get rid of these supporting infantry and sort of just weather the Chaos Spawn summons, maybe the Elves have a chance of getting back in this. Eltharion's just about at his healing cap. Still about half his HP left. Means if he has Winds of Magic left, he can start dedicating it to healing some of these multi-model units, potentially. But quite a few Rangers left still on the board. Rangers are definitely no pushovers in combat, even in a late-game scenario. With their martial prowess active, 30 and 36. Cygors, I mean, 45 defense, only 23 actually melee defense, so on the Eye of Morslib, even lower for the base Cygor. Cygors will take damage over time from Rangers because of that fact, even though it's not going to be super impactful. It's not a matchup you'd necessarily expect, but ooh, here comes the Soul Quench, going to be trying to side shot through those Koroks Man Rippers. They reposition, just take it on the front, and it looks like Eltharion actually cancels out the spell, deciding not to take the bait there. This one healthy unit of Ungor Raiders, though, look at this. This one unit of Ungor Raiders probably going to take a charge here. They may not end up taking that much damage, we'll see, but oh man, look at that friendly fire from the Cygor. Cygor says, I hate you so much, and just kills all of those particular Ungor Raiders. That was really tough, and look at that balance of power coming back. Eltharion gets caught once again by the Warp Gaze, but this time Crabling follows up quickly with this Cygor. It's not going to last long enough, I don't think, for this other Cygor to get into position. And without the pigs, oh, maybe if he gets stagger locked, the Eye of Morslib does at least get one attack there. Oh, another stagger. Can Eltharion escape? Oh, look, both throwers back online. That's pretty interesting. And really, really bad for the Beastmen, actually. Oh, man, look, 2 point-blank shots in the air with Eltharion the Grim. I remember one time, I have done this before, not necessarily with double Cygor, but just shooting flying monsters with Cygors point-blank. It's okay. Some people made fun of me for it when I published it in a video, but it's actually kind of viable. But the thing is, if Eltharion goes down here, then the High Elves are going to have major terror issues. If he can stay alive, then I actually think they have a pretty good chance to grind through what's left of this Beastman army. With the support of those bolt throwers in particular, I don't know, only 2 volleys left. It's like, what, 300 damage at best per model? There are only 2 models online, so like an extra 600 damage, except they whiff a couple of the shots right there, so maybe not. Eltharion, the Cygors are whiffing no shots in Eltharion for the most part. That one there went right over his head, but he's down to 182 hit points, so one more rock throw will finish him off if it gets solid contact, which is just insane. He's going to route straight up. Cygors, oh, look at that! The rock just clips him without even blowing up. MLG, you know, World Series Cygor right there. Wow. Yeah. The thing is, I think the Rangers will eventually kill Morgr if you have enough of them, but they have taken a pretty significant amount of damage at this point, and with the Cygor still throwing rocks, well, this one's actually out of rocks at this point, but yeah, Eltharion getting absolutely just home runned right there. Yeah, that was a half-court shot right there. Buzzer beater, man. Whew, all the sports analogies. That's a wrap right there. Great series. Crabling bringing it back, so forces a game 3. And yeah, let's check in on a quick update. Going to you, Bob. Just kidding. I really should get some like affiliates though in big tournaments like this to we can check in and do updates. Like how about Poison Ducky? Let's look at that. I know there's some people streaming their games. Looks like maybe he's done. I don't know. I think Anticity was maybe streaming as well. Maybe we can check in with him. Yeah, Anticity's on Twitch, so let's go ahead and take a look. Fun stuff. Yeah, GG. What a series, man. What a series. That was intense. Get Wurzag screen blocker back up. And here we go. Looks like Anticity is currently playing Norska versus Tomb Kings. I don't know. I guess I could check the bracket, see where he's at. Currently, we have Happy Puppy went 2-0 over Red Legion, so she now moves on almost to the quarterfinals. She'll just need to win one more, and that will be versus the winner of this series, Crabling or Loopy. So we'll be in for a good one there. Falcon, Samurai still playing theirs. We've got Ice Power versus the green one, EC the green one. Romulan Dog prevailing all the way up. Now can take on Evenstar. Wyvern playing Energized. We do have one prelim to the quarterfinal already in Nonsense versus Vertrazum. I apologize. Chosen One actually defeating Hadriz in a 2-1 series. I'd imagine that one was very close. Red PSI versus Reginald Puggington. Gravel Slayer versus Maker. We've got a lot of ones. Anticity is currently playing the real Faust, though, over on his Twitch channel. So if you guys want a double box, we don't have a, like, Red Zone equivalent for Total War Warhammer, unfortunately, for these big tournaments, but yeah. Switched over to you. Okay, Poison Ducky. No worries, no worries. Yeah, looking good, though. We got a lot of really good players still in the game, so at this point, it's wide open. Likely, what I'll do is take a break before I start for the quarters, just to refresh myself, you know, restart the stream and everything. But for the time being, we're gonna take a look at the final game of this particular match. Loopy locking in on the Dark Elves. Let's see if I have a look at the pick ban system. Loopy bans Greenskins, go Dark Elves, and it looks like Crabling's other choices were Skaven and High Elves, so we're going to be seeing Crabling opt into one of those two, either Skaven or High Elves. And which will he do? Here, against Dark Elves, it's interesting. I would say both Greenskins, or sorry, both High Elves and Skaven would have a favorable matchup here. From my experience with Crabling, I know his Skaven is one of the top he's one of the top Skaven players in the world right now. And he, as a result, I would feel pretty confident even with my own skills. I don't know about against Loopy. Loopy's a very good player. Like, it would be a challenge for sure, but I would pick Skaven even just for my own skill level. And Crabling, depending on what he wants to do, I would expect a Skaven pick here personally, but he may surprise us and just take the High Elves, and it looks like he did go High Elves, and yeah, he's locking in, ready, good luck, have fun, so surprising even me. And this is a classic matchup, High Elves versus Dark Elves, very appropriate. Score right now is 1-1. I guess I could use the scoreboard, but yeah, let's do it. Why not? No, I don't want to mess up the names because I have this whole like bracket system and everything. Yeah, we'll hold off on the scoreboard for now, but it is 1-1. Not in the quarterfinals yet, no. I'm just doing some of the early round games right now. In fact, I'll probably update the title real quick. Let me update the title. So it now says early rounds, because I'm actually going to do it like a separate stream. Just, you know, like I said, take a break for a few minutes and then restart. Yeah. Don't forget screen blocker. Thanks, Igor. You got me. Got my back. Yeah, good stuff, guys. 300 viewers concurrent right now. That is crazy. Thank you all so much for coming out. Absolute pleasure. We got a match here, folks. We got lots of matches, to be honest. All the matches. Let's go ahead and just switch a few things here. Make sure I'm all good on my messages and so forth. Cool, yeah. Oh yeah, just looking at some stuff. It's interesting. As for how the bracket could unfold from here, really anyone's guess. I don't want to speculate too much, but there's a lot of very strong players in play. And we've still got one full round basically after this. Currently we're on round 3, yeah? Oh man, this bracket is so massive. PC's having a hard time with it. Not really, but yeah, round 3. And the quarterfinals start round 5, so all things considered, we've been through a good portion of this tournament already. I'm pretty impressed with how expeditious everything's been. I do imagine things will start to get a little bit longer as we get further in and we have more 2-1s, you know, series and just more games and pick phases that last a little bit longer. Yeah, there's a lot of variables at that point, but here we are. Got plenty of time. Wiliest, scrappiest player left. Actually, probably Shetland. I would give that title maybe to Happy Puppy. Rando, hey, thanks, man. Much appreciated. I love Med2's soundtrack. It's definitely one of my favorites of any Total War game, and considering that, like, if you were to list my top 5 game soundtracks, probably 3 of them are Total War games. That's saying something. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. And cut it. Perfect timing on the music. Thank you, Warzag, as well. We'll get him dismissed once more. I mean, Happy Puppy, you've been doing like Crone Hellebron builds, you've been doing wild Kalita builds. Like, in my mind, that Wily and Scrappy, that right there describes those builds, so yeah, we'll see. Guac is playing, yeah, I think so. I'd have to look at the bracket. I think he's still in. But, yeah, there's a lot of people. A lot of people. This time, though, this is kind of no surprises build, to be honest. Very strong units in general. We've got Alariel, Star Dragon, just some regular archers, spearmen, Fireborn, the Dovahkiin elves, and just regular dragon princes. So, like, 4 units here make up the majority of the army value. And then the rest of it is spread between 2 other unit types, so it's a pretty basic build, very straightforward. As for the Dark Elves, we've got Malekith on Lizardback, which is an interesting choice. A couple of Doomfires, including Slaaneshes, Sisters of the Singing Doom, Red Spears, bunch of Dark Riders with crossbows, regular Dark Riders, 1 Cold, 1 Night. Interesting. Manticore summons. Basically, again, all strong units, but the archer line here, I say that one, you know, unit, one portion of the army was spread all on 1 unit type, right? And that's going to be effective. Archer's pretty cost-effective here, especially against the lower HP and non-healing of the Dark Elves. Out of all the elves, in practice, Dark Elves tend to be the squishiest because they don't have any healing. Well, I shouldn't say they don't have any healing. They have a lot more limited healing than, say, Wood Elves or High Elves. But, yeah, nice little hit and run here on the Fear Spears by the Dragon Princes. They're going to do quite a bit of damage, immediately sweep into this back line, and then they can just come run hits all into the back of these different Fear Spears, or even sweep all the way across and just smash these Sisters. But it looks like they are going to try and support that frontline engagement a bit, help win pretty decisively there. Manticore Summon has been tossed, though, and you can see the Slaanesh Harvesters also maneuvering up and around the side. The Warlocks, if they can get a good engagement on the Dragon Princes, that'll be fantastic, because of the magic and poison, but they also will get mulched by Dragon Princes on the charge, so they have to be very careful to try and get a good engagement. But Dragon and Manticore both just kind of hanging back for now. This one Dragon Prince, though, you can see already making its presence felt, breaking one Fear Spear. Now the Sisters of Seeking Doom just getting gadded by all the archers. The disruption a little bit late as the Dark Riders land home. They do force some of the archers to move, but only one unit is forced to move, and then they just get countercharged by Dragon Princes there. So looking a little bit rough so far for the Dark Elves, but they did get a decent engagement here in the front line. They enrage the Fireborn with the Sisters of Seeking Doom. Star Dragon's forced to land here, and it's not getting the greatest engagement right now. Soul Blight gone down for the Dark Elves as well. All the support spells. Here comes the Manticore also, so going all in to try and snipe out the Star Dragon and Alarielle here. Will it be enough? As the archers, most of them are free to still fire in and support this blob, as are the Dark Riders. Man, the Dark Riders in particular could be making a big difference here on the Fireborn, and we can see the Fireborn basically done now at this point, so it's going to be up to this other unit of Dragon Princes. At this point, though, they're doing a decent job. How many kills? 81 kills so far. Just try to mop this side of the battlefield as quickly as possible. It might not matter, though. This engagement is mostly what matters. And, yeah, the Star Dragon now steps on Malekith. Absolutely just smashes him in the face. He's going to throw a Desperate Soul Stealer to try and regain some of his HP, I believe. Or maybe that was from... No, that was actually from the Harvesters. I don't know if Malekith has a Soul Stealer available, but that Manticore, and all of a sudden the fire turning on the Star Dragon was healthy like 2 seconds ago, just gets absolutely wrecked. So, yeah, very quick turnaround on the engagement. The Star Dragon actually shatters before the missile hits it. So, yeah, a little bit of a waste there, but that's a fine, just insurance. It's definitely gone now at only 33 HP. It'll be up to Alarielle and these other Dragon Princes to finish things off. This Manticore, though, if they can avoid taking that engagement too much, just come in and clean up a lot of the rest of this infantry here. The Dark Riders as well, if it can avoid. This is potentially dangerous, though. Yeah, stay away from those Sisters of Seeking Doom and the crossbow blob. But it looks like one Slaanesh's Harvester is still enough to poison them and keep them somewhat debuffed. This Dark Rider blob just asking for some archers right now, but the Manticore's another disruption here. The Dark Rider's still alive, pressuring archers there. I don't know, it's definitely anyone's game at this point. That loss of the Star Dragon was pretty extreme, but it might have done enough damage as it is to Malekith and other targets to pay for itself. And yeah, the crossbow blob now being pressured directly by the Dragon Princes. They are pretty fast, and especially with their charge active, they're unfortunately very tired, much more tired than the Dark Riders. So the speed differential will be a little bit increased by that, but the charge animation, they are able to pick off a handful of models there. Could perhaps come back, deck some of these other infantry while the crossbows are pressured away. Looks like these archers are a little bit exposed, though. Sisters of Seeking Doom there. Maybe get some more spears to come help, but they are still quite healthy. Probably still have martial prowess active, and the Fireborn actually come back despite being, you know, pressured by all of those Dark Riders and everything. Malekith's also gone, only 78 HP for him. He gets finished off there, so the High Elves now taking a decisive advantage on the balance of power. Alarielle able to sustain, and this is kind of what I was talking about. In a very close game between two, I would say, very equally matched players, sometimes the healing of the High Elves can be just enough to make a difference. Here, it certainly has been able to sustain Alarielle herself up to her healing cap. It's one unit of Dragon Princes as well, if we kind of zoom in here. And if I can get a hold of their cap space as well. There we go. And yeah, they've got over 1,000 HP of healing as well. Like 1,200 HP of healing that was. So beautiful stuff. Crabbling takes home the win there. And he will advance on to face Happy Puppy. That was a very strong, I mean, like I said, basic High Elf build, but it makes sense. Everything makes sense. Loopy, same thing. I mean, I am not the biggest fan of the basic warlocks. I think they can be a little bit inefficient sometimes. Malekith also on a on a lizard is pretty decent pick also, but man, just absolute scrap by both players. Very, very good back and forth. GG. So let's go ahead and see. Speaking of Guac, Shetland, you wanted to see Guac. Looks like I don't know if I can spectate him, but let me reload this real quick. There we go. And no, he doesn't actually have any spectator slots open. I'm gonna ask him real quick. But let's see. Oh yeah, that was good stuff. Good luck, Happy Puppy. Maybe we can jump in with you. I don't want to make you nervous, but I know Shetland wanted to see some Guac games, so in honor of the venerable Shetland, we would like to get some if we can there. Let me see, where's Guac at? They may be just about done anyway, but oh, looks like we got one entrant into the quarterfinals already. The one that I failed to pronounce several times. Svertrazm. Yes, Svertrazm. Alright, I think I got it. But yeah, let's see. We'll see if any of these other ones open up. I guess I could shoot messages and demand them to open a spectator slot, but it's really not a big deal right now. Happy Puppy's great. Yeah, alright, we can jump in here. We'll follow Traveling and Happy Puppy, since that's the storyline we were following before. We'll jump in with them here. And let's get Warzag back up to do screen blocking, because this is the best screen blocker. Actually, what other idle animations? I mean, clearly this is the best idle animation in the game, but let's say I wanted to spice it up in theory and get some other idle animations for screen blockers. What would be a good one? Maybe like Rapunzel's, you know, like lifting her sword up and having it be blessed by light. I think that's a super cool animation. There's some other really cool idols, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some. The Grinders, the Warp Grinders, have pretty awesome idols too. But Dance and Wurzag is just so iconic. It's hard to beat. Grom's got food animations? There we go. Oh yeah, that's right. He like whips out a ham bone and eats it and stuff, right? Rogue Idol. Oh yeah, there we go. Snitch. Give us some eye candy with Alarielle. Just all of Alarielle's feet. I mean, what? Oh yeah, the ROR Necrofex is just an awesome unit. I was actually having an in-depth discussion yesterday about that on the watch-along. I am a huge fan of that unit. I think it's criminally underutilized. Poison Wind Mortars, yeah, I was gonna say, I think they have some funny ones. Maybe I'll make like a full-on, like, you know, repeat music video that just runs on loop. Alarielle crying. Oh yeah, they dropped the ammunition. I've seen that one, Zach. Wait, yeah. Like, oh no! Oh, okay, we're good. Just do the Necrofex with some Haggard chanty music. Maybe have, like, Gunny sitting on his crab, like, basking in the sun. I love Gunny's animations. Like, when he's sitting on the crab, he looks like he's just so lazy. Just like, oh, I'm so tired. Just like, chilling on this crab. Just like leaning back. like leaning forward, like, oh man. Skaven Ninja, there we go. Silostra. Yeah, the crabs are amazing. I would probably do a whole pirate compilation of idle animations, actually. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do like one for each faction. I have a replay Shetland. I need to find it where literally Orion died to Silostra like dying and the crab falling on him. Like literally Silostra sat on him and he died. Because you know how certain monsters will actually deal damage when they fall, and yeah, I want to say Silostra literally just died and fell on Orion, and that was what killed him. SpongeBob in the background. There we go. I don't know. SpongeBob music might get me copyright strikes. Have to find some fair use. Probably just use the Vampire Pirates theme from Warhammer, to be honest. Top 10 Warhammer waifus. There we go. There's a video idea. Oh, yep. Looking good. Yep, you got it, Shetland. Yeah, Skarsnik and Goblet's animations are pretty adorable. That was probably the earliest, like, just awesome. I don't know, there's a lot of cool idle animations from Game 1. But that's probably my favorite. Skarsnik, too. I don't know, I'd have to look on IMDb. Whoever the voice actor is for Skarsnik, it was amazing. Like, just incredible. One of the best voice acting jobs in the game. And I will say, largely for the greenskins, I think like that is some of the best orc and goblin portrayals in fantasy from a voice standpoint. Like Skarsnik's just got this like, I don't know, this like edge, this like timbre to his voice that's really, I don't know, it's almost like scratchy in a weird way, but it just sounds really good. I don't know. And I'm sure it was like credit to the sound team too for mixing all that together and everything. They did really good on the voice acting in this game generally. Mortis engine does blow up, yes. It actually does an explosion when it dies, yep. Top 10 couples in Warhammer, there we go. Maybe if we get to Ariel, Queen Ariel, then definitely number one would be Orion and Ariel, because they're literally like demigods, right? I really hope we do get Ariel. That would be awesome. Giant butterfly lady. Yeah, miscast, that like different things could happen, right? From what I remember. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. Thorgrim and the people who carry him. Oh yeah, his long-beard bodyguards. Malekith and the Lariel, top couple. They're elves though. Can anyone top Vlad and Isabella though? I mean, they've been married for literally an eternity, right? Like almost. So I don't know. Or Sigvald and generic Chaos Hero. I mean, what? Yeah, I'd be curious to see who they would make if they implemented Ariel, if they could make her look like, I don't know. I'm trying to think Mel Gibson in a film who his wife was. I don't know. Girl from Braveheart, maybe? Yeah, that's what I was thinking in the lore. I didn't remember if that was represented on tabletop. I do remember vaguely, though, from watching some games back in the day, that like, I think Chaos Demons had something where if you rolled a specific number on their leadership, they could actually, like, regenerate units rather than, like, crumbling or routing or whatever they did. I don't remember. Sentient horses driving war wagons? It's for real, though. No one's driving them. Like, there's no driver for the war wagons when you stop and think about it. Same thing for Volkmar's wagon, too, actually. Like, Volkmar, there's the warrior priest standing on the back, right? But he's not driving. Neither is Volkmar. Who's driving? The Luminarch, too, actually, right? There's not drivers on any of those, I don't think. So what we've learned then is the Empire has sentient horses. Because they don't need drivers on any of their chariots. So what is everyone else doing with their chariots even? Like, elves, dark elves, wood elves. Wood elves don't have chariots, I wish, that'd be super cool. Dark elves, high elves. Y'all still have drivers for your chariots. Like, I'm sorry, you've had thousands of years to figure this out, and yet somehow the haggard man chariots of the Empire that are slow, they can drive themselves. I don't know, maybe it's a speed thing. Maybe the elf horses actually could, but they actually go faster with the driver. I don't know. Patriotic Imperial horses, there we go. Oh, the Gorbies? Oh, I love the Gorbies. Chaos, yeah, they're like Chaos apes. Like, like Chaos gorillas. They're super cool. I love them. Alright, alright. Let's see what we got here. Pop Wurzag out of the way. And, yeah, fade the music out as well. Thanks, Wurzag, for your dancing. We'll get some other idle animations for the next tournament. Probably going to be starting up my South Sea Mercenary League here in November, I want to say. Probably run it over the holidays. I don't know, maybe I'll wait till after the holidays. People are usually pretty busy around that time. Kind of just depends on how things go. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do. Let's have a look here, though. Skaven for Crabling. Very scary. I have been wrecked by Crabling Skaven many times myself. Yeah, Rat Ogre's here. He's got a Plague Priest on the Furnace, a Skrulk Boy, an Assassin. This is pretty classic Skaven. Storm Vermin with Halberds, including Council Guards. Yeah, Mortars. Speaking of Mortar's idle animations, we'll come back and check these guys out in just a sec. But for the Beastmen, Morgr and a Spawn Rush. Wow, look at this. All in with the Chaos Spawn. Love that. We've got one Bestigor in the back, Brayshame, Lore of Wild, bunch of Raiders, very strong as well. Happy Puppy mentioned that she's a big fan of the Razorgore Chariots, and I 100% concur. Very, very awesome unit. And yeah, just regular Gores and Ungors up front. Some Hidden Hounds, Lore of Manticores, and Lore of Cygors? Nope, just Lore of Brainbursta and Manticores. And yeah, let's come back and just watch the idle animations of these mortars, see if we can see anything fun, see that drop. Oh, I just heard something. I heard a glass ball breaking, it sounded like. Oh. Skaven weapon teams, I have to say, they look awesome. They're so steampunk. I love it. Oh, there we go. Oh. It almost seems like he wanted it to blow up. You see at the end, he's like, "Aw." Is that a sigh or is that a aw? Oh, sigh of relief. Yeah, that's a fun animation. Right off the bat, though, he's going to be summoning up a unit of Clan Rats to run forward and start to proc that Plague Rash. It looks like the attrition damage of the Mortar also getting underway immediately. Mortars basically put your army on a timer. They're honestly a little bit too strong. I still think they need to detune the DPS of the dot a little bit. But as it is right now, they're going to try and spread around their shots here, see if they can contact multiple units on one volley. Like that, it's really efficient. Likewise, the Clan Rats just get absolutely mulched there by all the units, but you can see how it kind of forces a blob, and then the mortars are able to, like I said, contact multiple units with that dot. Will be quite nice. Nice little Plague Breath through the side there, but the Spawn are almost in combat. The Hell Pit Abomination is definitely going to have a lot of work cut out for it as it tries to deal with all of those Spawn, pressuring different fronts. Here, they're going to pressure in, come in, and hit these Storm Vermin with halberds. The Skaven Slave Spears will do a tiny bit of damage to them, but they're basically just like ignore them pretty much. But actually, the Spawn aren't really fully saturated in on the halberds at this point, and a nice frontline push here, although the best score have taken a lot of damage already from the Poison Wind Mortars there. Skrulk's going to keep calling up those summons too. In the back line, Hound's coming from some harass. Happy Puppy's trying to pull away there, but the Rat Ogres will switch places and get in there. The Rat Ogres also doing a good job managing these chariots on the outside flank, keeping them pinned back, but the Spawn collapse is pretty real at this point. One of these spawns, it looks like, is on the Poison Wind Mortars. The question is, are they still actually firing? It doesn't look like they are. We get in close, and look, the Spawn are able to keep them bogged down for the time being, and even more spawns being summoned up right now, so full push, full court press from the Beastmen at this point. All the spawns just running rampant all over the field. The chariots are able to disengage there, and if they can pull those Rat Ogres away, let the Spawn just absolutely collapse everything here, that will be really effective. You can see the Spawn just stepping on Plague Monks, other various summoned units here in the center. Skrulk is very quickly going to find himself surrounded. Storm Vermin will need to kind of rally to his cause here a little bit. And these halberds as well took quite a bit of damage from the chariots in that engagement, even with the support. So Rat Ogres come crashing back to try and help deal with the Spawn overwhelm. Where did the mortars go too? It looks like they were able to mostly extricate themselves from that battle. The question is now, can the chariots maybe hit them? It looks like they're going for a rear charge on the Council Guard right there. And the Spawn now, again, switch places, or the Rat Ogres, rather, switch places. Ungor Raiders getting in a position to start firing. They really want to probably go after the Hell Pit if possible, but the Hell Pit is a little bit out of range right now, so also just focusing Rat Ogres, or even the Plague Priest would be pretty good, but the Mortars getting back online, firing at the Raiders there, very important. Those Raiders are going to be a big danger in this build in general, but still very healthy spawns as well over here on the side. They're just grinding through all the summons of Clan Rats and everything. In the back line, the Hounds are being routed away. Again, pulling these Rat Ogres way out of position here, very advantageous as the fight kind of ensues here. Looks like a Manticore summon being pulled up in a little bit of a later game scenario here for the Beastmen, trying to make a bit of a power spike into the late game. Will the Manticore go for like the Hell Pit, or is it going to try and drop on the Poison Wind Mortars? No, it looks like actually going for the Plague Priest, as it is a little bit overextended here. Happy Puppy's got to make a play too. His forces are kind of starting to run out of steam a little bit there, but a nice Vile Tide hits those Storm Vermin. Going to do some pretty good damage and hopefully finally break that pocket, but it looks like the two casters do get terrified away by the Hell Pit right at that moment. Manticore summon, though, doing a good job against the Plague Priest. Plague Priests do have a little bit of a hard time, but you can see a lot of the Beastmen units are starting to shatter, which is pretty rough, and a lot of them really just realistically don't have the leadership to come back in this fight, so the assault, it looks like, has been weathered. Happy Puppy maybe can come back in this if her casters rally. She's able to get some good Winds of Magic casts to start to finish things off, and as the Skaven summons also start to deteriorate. But Hound's coming in for one final gambit, try and get on those Poison Wind Mortars and shut them down. But I think credit to Crabling, despite the furious assault of the Beastmen, the Porter, he was able to keep the Mortars online. And yeah, it was tough stuff. I like that spawn rush though. I agree. You should be able to put Vlad and Isabella in one army. Isabella absolutely should be a hero, 100%. Like, I understand at that time they weren't really doing legendary heroes. But yeah, Isabella definitely should be a hero. At this point, it's just going to be a spawn mop-up operation. Happy Puppy will go ahead and throw in the towel there. And yeah, game. Good game. I mean, that was going to be a quick one, kind of regardless, because of the builds. But that spawn rush, pretty strong. The one thing I think the Bestigor, like, I get why you would bring that to try and come in and clean up the Storm Vermin, but she wasn't able to get it on the Storm Vermin, and likewise, like, you can kind of see how the Goreherds, because they're faster attack animations and just, you know, good offensive power, you kind of spread your value around a little bit with them, potentially you can just overwhelm a lot of the Skaven units. It was going to be tough regardless. Yeah, Craveling definitely a very strong player, but for me personally, I'll literally take almost the same build probably, except maybe just trade out the Bestigor for something else. But yeah, fun stuff. Very good game. Help at Abomination, only 7 kills, but did get an XP Chevron, ended up working through quite a few of the spawn there. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. See, Grombrindle's an interesting case. I think, like, if they could send anyone out into the New World in, like, some random spot, like Spine of Sotek or, you know, somewhere in the Southlands, Grombrindle would definitely be the best option for that, because he's, like, you know, this legendary dwarf that just shows up when you need him. I would say probably the dwarfs in the Southlands feel like they need him, or in, you know, the dwarfs in Lustria. But I think it would be good. He would be a good candidate for a new start location for the dwarfs, somewhere outside of the old world specifically. But yeah, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. It seems like the dwarfs quote-unquote update, like rework, was just their rune system, and them and the vampires both, because Creative Assembly hadn't decided to start doing the mixed DLCs yet, or just decided to not do any mixed DLCs for dwarfs and vampire counts. Like, they both got new campaign mechanics systems, but they didn't get a DLC, and like dwarfs got giant slayers, I think, too, technically, and the bloodline lords for the vampires, but it's like, it's not a full rework in the same sense as like Empire and Greenskins got, right, where they got a full, you know, new campaign mechanics plus Lord pack as well, with, you know, all that entails new units, new RORs, more lords, everything like that. So I personally would pay for another dwarf DLC. And yes, as much as I meme about hating undead and especially vampire counts, I would pay for a vampire counts DLC if it came through and fixed, like, if that's what it takes to justify the cost of going through and fixing a lot of these DLCs, or a lot of these factions. And, you know, like the dwarfs, for example, they have quite a few Slayer characters. Any of the Slayer characters who use two-handed axes don't actually have Deathblow. They have Deathblow on their unit card, they have the Deathblow trait, but they don't have an animation for Deathblow. Like, you know how the dual hand weapon Slayers, they'll like cut as they're falling down, like their like head explodes and they like cut as they're falling down. That's their Deathblow animation, right? Giant Slayers, you know, like Ungrim Iron Fist, doesn't have that. So they would need to like add new animations for that. Even like with gyrocopters, like a lot of people, myself included, want mounts for the engineers, either gyrocopters, artillery pieces, whatever. Again, that would require them to kind of retool some animations and do some different things. So, like, I would be willing to pay for a DLC, you know, another Lord pack for the dwarfs, if that's what it took to justify the cost of giving them some more love. Because I think dwarfs and vampire counts both kind of got shafted a little bit in their reworks. Oh, screen blocker. Whoops. Yep. There we go. Honestly, I could see them doing like 2 or 3 more DLCs for dwarfs. If you look at their recent Lord packs and say, like, okay, what is it, like 3 to 4 new units, plus a Lord and maybe a hero too. You could do a Slayer hero, a generic Slayer hero, since you can only have one Gotrek, and a generic Slayer Lord, right? There's the Slayer artillery piece too, which is the Goblin Hewer, I think it's called. It's a meme unit. Let me see if I can find a picture. I'll post it. You guys to go look here. Yeah, Goblin Hewer. Here we go. Okay, so this thing. Hopefully, if you click that link, it will take you to the picture. Yeah, so it's like a artillery piece. Literally, it's a Slayer artillery piece, so it would be unbreakable. And it throws axes, and it's supposed to be anti-large, if I remember right. So, yeah. that would be something that, like, that alone. Okay, so that's one unit. You could do another unit. Lore Master of Sotek, we were having a discussion about this, and I was asking about other Slayer units, and he was telling me about there's another, like, there's a different type of Slayer. I think they're called Doomseekers, that their school of thought is, rather than kill the biggest monster I can, you know, they look at these hordes of greenskins and hordes of Chaos Warriors and hordes of rats, and they say, you know what, rather than killing the biggest, I'm gonna get the highest body count I can. I'm gonna do the full-on Dynasty Warriors, you know, whirlwinding axe around your head, just full-on helicoptering, just hordes and hordes of enemies, right? So there's another new unit, right? You could make another variant of Slayer that has big splash attacks, maybe low model count, but big splash attacks, and does, like, huge anti-infantry damage. Yeah, so there's two new units, right? The Hewer, the Doomseekers, there's a new hero, there's a new lord, all Slayers, right? So there's a Slayer DLC just about in and of itself. And then you could definitely do, if you wanted to do, like you said, an airship, right? You could do an airship, and that would be a good time to maybe put in, like, an engineer lord, like a lord level engineer. You could do the animations for the mounts for him and the master engineer, right? The hero level. Do the animations for them also mounting artillery pieces. Maybe you include, like, Joseph Bugman as a free LC lord, since he's a ranger, like, he's an actual ranged unit. And it always seemed very strange to me that dwarves, which are, I'm going to say, the best shooting faction in the game, don't have a lord that has ranged attacks. Like, it just seems really odd to me that that's the case. So Joseph Bugman could kind of fill that role, and he would be a great free LC lord too, I think. Like a ranger lord. Yeah, see, exactly, Igor, exactly. If anyone from CA out there is watching this or reading this, people will pay for this. If you make it, people will pay for it. So just get a loan from Sega and let's make it happen. Anyway, yeah, here we are, front and center for the Warriors of Chaos here. We've got, for Crablink, Kolek Suneater, a bunch of Warriors with great weapons, versus the Empire. It's a pretty interesting matchup. Bunch of War Wagons I can see there. Marauder Horsemen. We've got a Caster, Lore of Death. Already Spirit Leeching the Royal Altdorf Gryphites. Might chew away a model or two there. Cappy Puppy's going to counter with the Earthblood to try and keep it from picking models, but it will just pick one model, which is fine. A little bit of HP damage. Marauder Horsemen as well. We've got some Outriders grenade launchers. Bunch of War Wagons. Karl Franz to be expected. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit of a kite build by Happy Puppy here. Lore of Life, of course, as we saw. Some Knights of the Blazing Sun, the Altdorf Gryphs, and just Spearmen standing in the back. So Happy Puppy doing her best to try and kite here. The issue with trying to kite with War Wagons is they're kind of slow, so you have to be careful not to get caught up by Marauder Horsemen. But anyway, yeah, back to my rant. Yeah, War Wagons are actually pretty solid here. They're like mobile handgunners, more or less. They have not quite the same DPS as handgunners, but it's not that far off. It's like maybe 15% lower, 20% lower. But the fact is that they're mobile, and because there's only 3 models, they're very tanky. Yeah, Karl could jump down and try and mat Kolek here, but it's a dangerous gambit for both of them to play. The War Wagons could also focus Kolek and do a ton of damage to him right now. But as it is, unfortunately, Happy Puppy is continuously getting these Altdorf Gryphites Spirit Leeched as this fight kind of unfolds here. So that could potentially be rough. That's going to be a little bit of value lost there. So we'll see. Oh, nice. Kind of predicting there. Ooh, and the lightning hits some of the Outriders with grenade launchers, but people often complain that, like, kiting is a very boring playstyle. It's actually really hard to do effectively, and Happy Puppy getting a couple War Wagons caught up by the big Kolek here, but now the Altdorf Gryphites rush in. Karl's also going to dive for a quick attack. A little bit of our Earthblood there. Kolek takes some significant damage. He does have the Scroll of Shielding popped currently, and Karl's going to kind of go all in there. He'll have to be careful not to get surrounded by spawn and isolated and so on, but Knights of Blazing Sun also push forward now, going to hammer home a charge there on some of the Chaos Warriors there and there. They do need to pull back, though, as the Javelins are tossing in, and the armor-piercing damage of the Chaos Warriors with great weapons is actually pretty solid. Chaos Warriors with great weapons, just a great kind of Swiss Army knife type unit where they can fight almost anything in this matchup, and they'll do kind of okay at it. But Franz definitely wants to pull away here. He's got an okay engagement against Kolek there, kind of equal damage on both sides, but he definitely doesn't want to get gooned completely. Likewise, the life casts are a little bit out of position here, and this is sort of the problem you run into with this sort of kite build. I think, honestly, you replace these grenade launchers with Pistoliers, and suddenly this is a lot better, because you have more volume to be able to respond to the Marauder Horsemen and the War Wagons. But the War Wagons still online, still quite a bit of ammo left. Balance of power is in the Warriors of Chaos' favor, and it's mostly because Karl's taken a bunch of damage. But the Weird Spawn are such a good pick here, being able to sunder the armor of the few high-value, high-armor targets, because, you know, Empire, people often think of them as a heavy armor faction, and then they kind of are to a degree, but they're definitely a mixed armor faction, I would say. That they have a variety of different armor levels on different units, and as a result, you don't necessarily always need the armor-piercing damage, but like having the Weird Spawn to debuff armor, just that little bit extra for the Javelins is helpful, and, you know, if they're fighting on top of the Forsaken, or like Mirror Guard or anything like that, the Chaos Warriors with great weapons, again, they don't necessarily need that armor sundering. They're just out of an all-in-one unit. As long as they don't get lit up too much by armor-piercing missiles, which, considering that they're pretty cost-effective for their stats, I would say much more so than, like, White Lions even. A decent amount of HP, too. You can bring them in a pretty good volume with Chaos and just kind of overwhelm with this nice, decent infantry. And you can see that largely has been the case here. I mean, just kill totals spread around there, not too much damage on any one of them, but this just massive line of elite troops, kind of semi-elite, mid-tier to elite troops with good armor. It's so tough to deal with. With Karl off the field, that's basically all she wrote. So yeah, wagons, not quite enough here. I honestly think the wagons could have been a tool, but I don't know if you want to go all in on the wagons. I think that's maybe too much. Like, I would probably take 2 wagons in this matchup and go with more of an offensive cavalry focus. To complement Karl, yeah, like 2 wagons, maybe 2 Pistoliers instead. I don't know. It's easy for me to critique builds, but Kravling's build, I will say, is just it's like we've seen a little bit before with him. Kind of basic, you know, very straightforward. It's Chaos, so I don't know what more you would expect besides just basic and straightforward. It's kind of their faction, to be honest. But I do like the pick of the Weird Spawn. That's a little bit of an interesting pick, and it's one that I personally would absolutely make. So, good games to both. Yeah, Kravling then moves on to quarters, I believe. So, no, not quite. Let's see, where am I on the bracket? Jeez, there's this thing. Just so massive. It's so thick. Can't get my mind around it. Yeah, looks like he is on to the quarters. So we're almost there, guys. Wow, it's only 1:30. We've only been going for almost what? 4 hours at this point? Not quite, like 3.5. That's not too bad, honestly. No, Pistoliers equals automatically lost. War Wagons actually have better DPS than they did before. The thing is, like, they'll generate value if they're shooting at high value targets. The best thing would have been for them to shoot at Kolek, but because there was all that armored Chaos infantry, it was going to be a tough roll. I almost like Volkmar in that matchup in Greatswords, because against a build like that, you can wreck those infantry in the heads-up fight, more or less. You still have to have tools to deal with Kolek, of course. You can come in with like some faithed-up demis, or, you know, still bring the wagons and just dedicate them only to shooting Kolek. That may have been a little bit more effective. But, yeah. Wagons have much better DPS than they did before. If you actually math it out, it's like way higher than Scourge Runners even. The stat is a little bit misleading. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. El Halcon is up. Let me see if I can find him on here. Or is that in something else? That might be in something else, to be honest. Showtime versus Tank. Could jump in with that one. See where they're at. But just taking a look back at the bracket here for a moment, we've got some games in progress here. Yeah, most of the round 4 games are done, so we're just about to round 5 already. Fantastic. Go ahead and get the screen blocker up. Dancing Wurzag, there we go. Looks like this one might be over as well. Let's see here. I think this one might actually be done, though. I'm just looking at the chat. Okay, cool. Looks like these guys are actually just finished, so I'll go ahead and bow out then. We'll go ahead and look. Should be getting some fresh ones popping up here soon, then we'll just kind of hang tight for a minute. Okay. Alright. Looking good there. I might have some messages. Let me check real quick. Just a little bit of adminning stuff to take care of real quick in the meantime. But yeah, let's go ahead and just refresh this, see if new matchups pop up. Oops, that was kind of loud. Is it Guac versus Moore now, still? I thought that was the one going on before. Oh, here we go. Aaron versus Showtime. We could maybe jump in on that one once they get it hosted. Faust versus Giorno. I don't think I have. I do have Giorno here. I guess could jump in that one and see. Moment. Chosen One versus Reginald. They're currently playing. Same thing for Ice Power versus Han Samurai. So we're almost there, guys. Okay, yeah. Let's see, because I do have. I guess I could check this one here. Let's see, sorry, just doing some more admin stuff on the side. Apologies about that. Check back over here. Man, what's up with people not having any spectator slots today? We'll just keep waiting, I guess. No big deal. This is kind of what I expected in these early rounds, that we might have some downtime in between rounds, so we'll just keep hanging out for a minute. Iron Drake Bomber, that'd be cool. I actually was thinking how awesome it would be to have a dwarf unit that was like a gyrocopter that had a like paratroopers, basically. Like you would fly over and drop like a low model unit of Ironbreakers or something as a summon, basically. Like you would have a super short range summon that you could use, and it would just like, you know, I don't know, drop some dwarf paratroopers. See you, Sarmation. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it's late for you and on a Sunday. Yeah, it's true. Next time we might put a cap on the number of people that can join. Just because this time around there was a lot of people in. Okay. Where are we at? Yeah, just kind of hang out, wait for these games to finish up. Looks like Romulan is in now. Yeah. I'm alright for now, Wicked. Ben Jahan, Ben the Barman, what's up, man? How far into the tourney? Well, if you take a look at the bracket here, you'll see we are just about to the quarterfinals, so you're getting to the good stuff right now. Let me go back over here. Here it is. Yeah, I mean, there was literally 100 people, so... okay, here we go. Maker versus Guac. Let's jump in as a spectator on this one. Yeah, Maker versus Guac. This is another prelim to the quarterfinals. And yeah, we've also got the other ones currently in progress, so we're moving right along, folks. We should be making great time today. I'm gonna go ahead and skip this track. There we go. That's a track right there. Perfect. All right. Maker has a puppy in his lap, giving him a -3 concentration. Oh, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Oh. Wicked has hosted a couple, I think it was on Heir of Carthage's channel, right? I want to say. That was for Europe time. Was that like you, Lotus Moon, and Heir that all collaborated on that? Or am I thinking of something else entirely? Or maybe I'm actually making it up 100%. Beast versus Brett, yeah. Well, no, it's gonna be, looks like Coast versus Bretonnia, which is objectively probably, you know, better matchup for Maker. But yeah. Well, back on the Isle of the Crimson Skull. Oh, Lotus didn't collab. Okay, just Heir. I think... Did Lotus join or something? I was trying to remember. Maybe he was just very grateful for you for hosting a tournament in that time, or maybe he won or something. Was he involved in that at any point? I don't know. Maybe I just, you know, synthesized that memory, but yeah. Yeah. Crumpin Cup, yeah, that's what it was. Okay, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah. Cool stuff. Crumpin Cup number 2. Nice. That's going to be awesome, man. Going to be good stuff. Air's such a good dude. What's up, Prussian Prince? Go ahead and refresh my chat, just in case. Sometimes my chat kind of bugs out, doesn't show everything. But let's make sure we got this. Puggington won it? That's right. Okay, I remember now. I actually do remember watching the replays when you say that. Evil Lotus Mooning Clan. Watkins elated. Yeah, no, unfortunately. Maker decided to make the, you know, probably right choice. It's the wrong choice, if you think about it. But it's actually the right choice, you know, in a competitive sense. And take Coast. Energize is a very good player, man. It's there's a lot of really good players now. Like, it's surprising how many people just absolutely scrap nowadays. Like, you can definitely get surprised. So let's see, we're getting pretty close to the quarters. Still, the tape is starting to set and gel and everything, so yeah, these guys getting their armies locked in. I can see just about ready. The one that I can see, at least. Well, thanks everyone for coming out. Like 350 right now, 340. Absolutely awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for the support. It's been great. Big thanks to CA, of course, again. Creative Assembly, awesome for letting us join in with them. Let us select some, at least, of the participants for the next Ever Chosen. Yeah, Anticity Falcon already out? Yeah, man, it's wild. Wild times. Yeah, I saw Samurai eliminated Falcon. That's... Woof. Yeah, he's looking good. We'll see... yeah, out of the players who are left, I can't really say. Appreciate it. Thanks, Nur Sultan and Rubber Duck. Kuliak Bai. Did I say that okay? How was that pronunciation, Nur Sultan? Oh, yeah, Falcon's out. Yeah, Falcon's out. I mean... It was a wild day today. Interestingly enough, he got matched up against Fistech round 1, which was interesting because he actually faced Fistech and got eliminated in the ECL, in the Eternal Challenger League semifinals. Or was that quarters? No, yeah, quarterfinals. So it was a big, you know, kind of roll of the dice, I guess. Wheel of Fate kind of moment, but he stepped up to the plate and overcame. But yeah, Han Samurai, too much for him. Oh, okay. I should have recognized. It's been a long time since I've seen Borat, I'll be honest. True classic, but okay, Dance Warzag is done now. Thank you very much, and we'll fade the music once again. Here we go. Isle of the Crimson Skull. Yeah, Samurai versus Crabling. They are on opposite sides, I believe, right, of the finals. So that would be quite the final. I know Crabling's had some tough matches so far. That one we saw against Loopy, man, that could have been a final. To be honest, it was such a good match. We'll see. Crabling's a very good player. Ice Power is as well, though. Yeah, I could see Ice Power pulling off the upset. Let's see, Foul Coast for Maker. Both of these guys, too, obviously still in contention, at least for the time being. We've got Maker and Guac. So, ITO versus RTK. Should be interesting. For Coast, we've got the worst, best Lord in the game, Luther Harkon. Fleet captain of vampires, as expected. Bombers, handguns, dogs. I mean, it's very much just a vampire coast build. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. For Skaven, Deathmaster, Snikch, and the Assassin, of course. We've got a Plague Priest, not on a bell. Just a bunch of Rat Ogres, a ton of Slingers, including Night Runner Slingers. Yeah, Clan Rats with shields. So the Skaven going for an interesting approach of trying to outshoot with Slingers, I guess? Interesting. I'd have to look to see who beat Anticity. If Samurai beats Ice Power, he'll play Crabbling. Okay, Faust, okay. Yeah, Faust is a very good player as well. Run into him a few times. Yeah, this Skaven army's a little bit strange. It's an interesting one. Guac's definitely coming in with a wild build, but so far, I mean, he's got to this point, so Deathmaster's definitely a very strong tool. Drawing some little dirt signs and stuff. The Master Assassin as well. I guess the regular Assassin. And this other stuff. Skaven build's pretty wild. It's pretty out there. Greenskin's Mirror. That's hilarious. I'd imagine we'll see some Green Tide here today. But probably after this series, depending on how the next round is looking, I may stop the stream, take a quick break, and then we'll be back for the quarters and semis after, but it kind of just depends. We may go one more series if we have time. So far, yeah, none of the quarterfinal matchups are set yet. Some of them are close. Looks like Evenstar beat out Romulan Dog, now facing Energized, who Energized has had quite the run as well. 2-1 over Wyvern. That was probably a very tough series. I saw he eliminated Upression Prince. He had a 2-1 versus Fodroyant as well. He was a viewer of mine, I know. So there's... I mean, it's been a lot of 2-1s today, actually. When I'm looking at this bracket, a lot of 2-1s. Crabbling and Pugno was a 2-1 as well, so Crabbling's played a lot of games already in comparison. Ice Power, both of his series were also 2-1, so just a great day of tournament games. Hopefully some people have been saving replays too to send in of the early round games that didn't get casted, because I will absolutely cast the heck out of those if they're good. But interesting, the Gut Runners, Night Runner Slingers come forward and start to exchange some fire with the zombies immediately, but look at this. Harkon comes down. He is going to get in contact here, potentially with some of these slingers, but Deathmaster's going to try and assassinate. Nope, they just at least chase him away. The Doggo's also coming through now as well, but look at this. That the Doggo's being pulled out means that this Victrin's Death Squad is unspotted, now maneuvering around to get into position. Luther may potentially spot them, so definitely want to try and get moving up here with the rest of the army so that they don't kind of get hung out to dry. But, yeah. Hounds may end up spotting them here as they pull back. The Victrin's Death Squad are fast enough. They could potentially squeak away there, quite literally. But so far, Skaven patiently approaching here. Just kind of not really, yeah, taking it too aggressive. The Hounds come back in, gonna get a charge on these Clan Rats here. And interestingly enough, the Death Squad actually look like they're going to come out and try and meet the Hounds. Their anti-infantry damage does mean that they'll just shred these Doggos if they get a good engagement there. Maybe force some crumbling, potentially. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get a lot of their models, and they do kind of reveal themselves now as well. The handgunners and bombers and so forth. Some potential nastiness, but you can see that the Skaven Slingers actually outranging the guns for the moment. The guns, when they come forward, will be able to start shooting, but the Slingers actually so far trading okay, targeting primarily the bombers first and foremost. But yeah, Victrin's Death Squad just kind of hanging around the flank here, distracting some of the return handgun fire as well, so the Slings can kind of just sit back and shoot. And you guys were saying you didn't like this build very much. The Slingers are an interesting choice, I think. Given that the Night Runners and Gutter Runners both have a little bit of physical resistance, they're not going to take as much damage from the zombie handgun fire. And they have kind of not equal volume, but almost equal volume in terms of the model count there. So another concealment bomb's been popped here. Nope, Vikstron's Death Squad, just regular stock. They are spotted once again, though, by those doggos. And you can see concealment bombs on Deathmaster. You do get a breath attack on the Plague Priest there. Does some okay damage, nothing too extreme. Over the course of the battle, that would be able to take him out. But is that the best cost use of that? It's hard to say. Archon jumping on Snitch directly could potentially be very dangerous, but the Bombers, you can see how much damage they've taken as the Skaven come to get the frontline engagement going. Their Clan Rats with shields now will be able to outtrade these zombies at a pretty decent cost, all things considered, and the overwhelming, just absolute pebble storm. Look at this. We get in close, like, look at this volume of fire coming from the Skaven lines. That looks like a really bad day. Just all of the tiny little rocks and pebbles and stones being slinged and thrown. And, slung? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But Harkon does come in and get a quick snipe on the Plague Priest there. So it's not all grim bones for the zombies. Do get a Deathmaster Sigil there. Will it be enough to keep Harkon on the ground? He does not escape to get back up in the air. The pins will soon wear off, though. It's a relatively short effect. So the armor sundering effect does go off, though. You can see Weeping Blade puts Harkon down to 40 armor, and the Pebbles get a little bit of focus fire on him in the meantime there, and do some decent damage. In the back line, the Vikstron's Death Squad still just directly targeting the Scurvy Dogs. A very interesting choice, and actually I think Harkon's breath attack on these guys when they're blobbed up may be the best way of dealing with them. Or these Bombers turning and firing as well. But if the Death Squad can get away, they're obviously much faster than the zombies. That could make the difference, but this Slinger line is very, very intense. The Vampire also overextends pretty badly here. This is a potential disaster for the Vampires. Coast here. If the Crab Lady goes down, that's horrible, and her armor again down to 60 because of the Weeping Blade. Here comes Harkon. He's going to jump back in and try and bail her out, which he probably will be able to, but that's going to open him up to again getting hit and also focused by all the slings. The Summon Deckhands here doing some pretty decent damage, but there's no Howling Warp Gale for the Skaven, so they can't really control his movements necessarily. That being said, the Plague Priest, the caster that they do have, is back. And yeah, those Vikstron's Death Squad starting to take damage from the Bombers, which is really not great. The physical resistance will only do so much there. Definitely want to try and maybe just charge those Bombers, hard to say. But Council Guard pushing up with the Rat Ogres. So far, so good. Kind of just chilling back with a lot of these units for now, protecting the slings as much as possible. And look at this, the balance of power is starting to turn in the Vermintide's favor. The Pirates, interestingly enough, can't stand against the waves and waves of pebbles being thrown at them. It's still anyone's game, obviously, with Harkon on the field. The balance of power is not too far gone, but things are looking pretty close. Things are looking very, very close. Some nice bomber fire there on those Clan Rats. The Summon Clan Rats. Honestly, though, it's okay to draw out the fire with those Summon Clan Rats. Summon Plague Monks as well, now just blending up the Deckhands there. Snitch and the Assassin in a little bit of a weird position here, though, getting caught forward by these zombie polearms. They're potentially going to get charged by Archon here. Look at these Death Squad, man, just holding out in the back line. Ended up not taking much damage at all, and Snitch manages to mostly dodge the shots of Harkon there. Snitch actually, the zombies realize, you know what, we really need to snipe Snitch at this point to get back in the game and start cause terror routes. For the Skaven, Harkon's pistol is focused primarily on Snitch now, and a lot of the zombies there were focusing momentarily, but now just getting inundated by the rats, not able to continue firing. A little bit of friendly fire of bombs, but the bombs also routing off the Plague Monks, or sorry, the Clan Rats there. But the Rat Ogre is getting a pretty decent engagement. Harkon's going to drop down and try and rout the Rat Ogres off. But look at this focus fire of these slings, man. I've said that like 4 times in this match, but it's very impressive, honestly. This is a playstyle that I think people forgot that Skaven can do, and it's working so far. Does seem to be decently effective. Let's see. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Rat Ogres, again, a little bit surrounded at this point, a little bit isolated. They do have Snitch and the Assassin, though, working once again on the Fleet Captain. She's got the Assassin's Trophy, the Weeping Blade once again. Will it be enough, though? The Slingers are starting to run out of ammo in certain cases. Gutter Runners with Poison still have plenty, but these other units here, like these Night Runner Slings getting low, Skaven Slave Slinger starting to get a little low as well, but oh, Harkon drops down. Is he going to get a Terror Route on Snitch? Snitch does Terror Route there. If he gets only a couple of attacks, that could be enough, but is the Weeping Blade active? No, it is not. The Assassin comes in, does drop something there. It's just poison is the debuff that's on him only, but Harkon's still taking some damage from all these slings, and the ground forces are basically gone at this point. There's really only a handful of bombers. Another zombies left. Deathmaster Sigil also being used again as Harkon gets surrounded by the Death Squad. They do apply the Weeping Blade and do great armor-piercing damage, so Harkon has to pull away from that. Things are looking very, very intense at this point. Yeah, I don't know. It's very much in the Skaven's favor in terms of the balance of power, but with Harkon still being alive, it's never say never, right? I know that from personal experience. Both of these vampire characters are at their healing cap, though, and with the support units now completely gone, that last the zombies crumbling, will that be enough? I don't think he can even take out Deathmaster at this point, though, so yeah, very nice. You guys said you didn't like that Skaven build, and I thought it was a bit strange as well, but Guac proving himself here with that overwhelming slings. Whew, yeah. Yeah, man. Guac is making some guacamole here out of vampires, and Harkon goes down there. That's game. GG. What a wild battle, man. That was fun. Woof, man, yeah, good stuff. Snitch is such a powerhouse. He's like very glass cannon, like the very definition. Squishy, it's kind of survivable in some ways, in that he can like just avoid an engagement by staying hidden, but 225 kills on those ROR Death Runners, man. Loved Vikstrin's Death Squad, such an underrated unit. Yeah, Rat Ogres also racking up tons of kills, and XP Chevrons, 187 for the Clan, Vulcan's Tail Slashers. How about that? You ever see clan rats, even regular clan rats with shields, kill their own unit count? I don't know if I see that often at all. I mean, they literally had a positive KD, which almost never happens for clan rats. Wow, cool. Crab versus Samurai is up. Okay, in that case, that's one of the quarterfinal games. Let me just shoot them a message. We're going to stick with this series for now. But I'm going to cast that series as soon as they're, I'm just going to let them play on. And we'll just cast the replays, so let's do this. Okay. Cool, so we can get them started just so that we keep things moving, and they don't have to stop and wait for me. But I will still be casting those games, in order. So, yeah, we're gonna stick here, and we'll go to their game 2. And yeah, that's so far the only quarter that's set. Another quarter is almost set. Energized versus Even Star. Once that finishes up, then we'll have another matchup set. Yeah, looking good so far. Cool. And let's get some more music. We'll get the Wild Wurzag screen blocker back up. There we go. Oof, man. Oh, that was something else, huh? This is, I believe this is game 2. Let me just double check the maps. I can just tell by the maps, by what they're using. Yes, that was Isle of Crimson Skull, so that was game 1 of round 4. So this is game 2. Yeah. Maker's got a chance to come back here. It is going to be tough. Greenskins are a very strong faction, so Glock definitely going for the win here with the Green Boys. Also Lizardmen, though, very strong faction, so it just depends. A lot of variables, like I like to say. Volume of pebbles. Yes. Yeah. You say if it would have been a Crab Rush, Skaven would have been crumped, but the thing about Weeping Blade is it's 50% armor, right? So that scales against heavy armor targets super well. And something like the Crab, I think the Crab has, what, like 100 and... Is it 150? I don't think it's that high. I think it's like 120 maybe. Regardless, you're still getting armor sundered down to like 75, 60, right? And at that low of armor, a high enough volume of pebbles will do the trick, yes. That's the thing about the Weeping Blade, is it's so good. It's probably one of the most underrated effects in the game. And it's one of the reasons why Snitch, you know, the Master Assassin, all the Clan-Eshin infantry units, you know, the Triads, Death Runners, they're all so good. I don't know why the Eshin Sorcerer doesn't have it. It seems like he probably should too. Yeah. I see what you did there. That Skaven build rocked. No. Pebbles beat bullets? Oh yeah, I mean, last time I got into a gunfight, I got killed by a slinger, so that happens to me all the time. Cool. Yeah, things are going well today. I'm very happy with how smooth things have gone. So everyone who's played today, whether you've made it far or didn't, you know, whatever you did, thank you for your, yeah, I don't know exactly what the word I'm looking for is, but just thank you for doing good. Thank you for being good at tournamenting, I guess. Like, yeah, you guys just did things, you know, without too much issue, had almost no rules considerations or breaks so far, at least, knock on wood. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, but so far so good, and considering how many matches have been played, that is quite impressive. So thank you all, you guys are the best. Yeah, the Assassin should have it also, probably, although he is ridiculously good already. Might make him too strong, but yeah, you are correct, he probably should have Weeping Blade also. Hey, what's up, Sophie? You've missed a bit, but the meat of the tournament is to come. The quarters and the semis and the finals are all yet to come. So right now we're still covering early round games. I've streamed what, like 2 series, 3 series so far. This is the 3rd series, I believe, maybe 4th. Thank you for being good community members. Yes, that's a great way of putting it, Gawk. Thank you for being awesome humans. Okay. Looking good. Looking good. Yeah, just checking some other things on the side right now. 2 o'clock, and we are just about to... We are, in fact, have technically started the quarterfinals. I'm quite happy with that. Quite happy indeed. 5 hours? Yeah, we've probably still got a good 3 hours or so left, if I had to guess. So, to that effect, after this series, I am going to go take a break. Since the quarterfinals have started, we're going to go ahead and do this series, and then I will end the stream and create a new stream for the quarters, semis, and finals. And that will be same place. Like, you guys just you might need to just refresh your stream. I don't know. You may not even need to refresh your stream, but yeah, we'll be just taking a quick break. I can grab a tiny bit of lunch, freshen up a bit, and we'll go on. It's relatively EU friendly, although especially for like Eastern Europe, it is going to be going pretty late into the night for them. I mean, because I forget, I think I'm GMT -6, I want to say. So like, yeah, if you're like Central European time or Eastern European, like, you know, 7-8 hours difference, it's gonna be it'll be like 1 AM probably by the time this is finishing. So it's a little bit rough to do on a Sunday night where you have to might potentially work Monday morning, but it is what it is. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Wurzag, for being the awesomest screen blocker. And let's go ahead and get him down. Cool. Only 10. Yeah, see? Yeah, we'll probably be going to like midnight, 1 AM, potentially your time, depending on how things go from here. But yeah, let's have a look at the builds. For the Lizardmen, gone with a pretty heavy monster presence, Mazdamundi plus the Thunderous one. We've got a Bastiladon Solar Engine, bunch of Skink cohorts. We've got Pterodon Riders up in the air, Cold One Riders on the ground, Chameleon Skinks, and a single Skink Chief on foot. So he can provide some cold-blooded. And yeah, pretty straightforward. As for the greenskins, again, fairly straightforward. We've got Wurzag here, Arachnarok Queen, Gobbo, Big Boss, Savage Orc Air Boys, Black Orcs in the front line, the Unbreakable Loons. Plus, of course, we've got Spider Riders and Spider Rider Archers. So neat. Yeah, we'll see. It's actually gone a lot faster than I expected Ziffo so far, so I'm hoping it won't go too late. And honestly, for myself, I'd be willing to draw back the start time like 1 or 2 hours. It might eliminate some players in the early morning in the US, but you know, just get up early. Like, just set an alarm. Come on. And that way it wouldn't be like quite so late, because I think it doesn't sound like a big difference, but even just like 1 to 2 hours earlier could make a pretty decent difference. So I don't know. I'll be kind of looking at things as we go from here, and of course the other admins as well, Arrow, HW, Turin, we're all going to be kind of discussing things and taking player feedback and checking out how. So far though, I have to say it's gone. I was a little concerned with, you know, 110 people in the tournament, but it's gone very smoothly, all things considered. Lack of anti-large for the orcs? I don't think so. I mean, the spider has enough anti-large that it can... maybe. I mean, the 3 dinos is a lot, but also keep in mind these air boys are basically anti-large, right? The boar boys are just shock cavalry. They're not necessarily pure anti-large, but they can do good shock damage on the charge with their AP and charge bonus. The fact that Wurzag's here as well, like the black orcs getting consistent attack buffs, can grind through the dinos potentially. It's all kind of remains to be seen. Right now, the Solar Engine's going to be blasting the Black Orcs. It'll kill off a couple models there, but the explosion damage isn't going to do as much because of their armor. Yeah, it was just a mistake on the scoreboard. But nice job with the Spider Riders charging in here, catching the Chameleon Skinks out. And because, of course, Spider Riders also deal poison, they will slow down the Chameleon Skinks and prevent them from getting away. So very nice kind of trade there. The Black Orcs kind of filtering in now. They might even get a few attacks there. And the Solar Engine does blast the Chameleon Skinks a little bit too. Friendly fire, but the blind debuff, of course, keeping that applied on the Black Orcs as much as possible is going to be very important. I mean, they don't have the best melee stats to begin with, but yeah. The attack buffs, once those start rolling in from Wurzag, be pretty impactful. Speaking of Wurzag, I'd actually probably focus the Solar Engine solely on Wurzag. I mean, he's low armor, kind of low HP, right? All things considered, 3,000 HP is not that much. Relies almost entirely on 31% physical resistance, so the magic damage of the Solar Engine will deal with him quite quickly. And of course, keeping that blinded debuff on him, if he chooses to come and fight, then that will obviously greatly lower his effect. Wurzag is not a terrible combatant. He's pretty decent, actually. 51 attacks, no slouch. 25 defense is pretty bad, though. 86 charge is also not bad at all, but a little bit of armor-piercing damage. You really don't want him fighting in sustained combat. Maybe a cheeky hit-and-run charge if you can, but he's pretty squishy. You gotta be very, very careful. Very fun stuff. Yeah. Yeah, the Mazdamundi comes forward here. You can see the Air Boys and the Black Orcs and everything kind of pushing up here. The Skulkers also in the center. Got a smoke bomb, but it looks like they didn't fully contact the Cold One Riders there. Even the Black Orcs protected from the Cold One Riders is going to be pretty important. Mazdamundi, though, is able to kind of crush the Unbreakable Loons here. They'll keep fighting, but a nice Fanatics cast down the line of Skink infantry. There's only Skink infantry, right? There's no Saurus, so the infantry fight obviously going to go very decisively in the Greenskins' favor, or the infantry advantage at least. Monsters can swing the actual fight itself, but remains to be seen. So far, Mazdamundi's resisting some damage. He's been healing some damage. The Spider kind of poking and prodding at him, but he doesn't have too much support here. Really, Mazdamundi and the Thunderous One need to be fighting together, and oh yeah, oh man, this is super bad for Maker here. Wurzag gets netted, and thankfully there's literally like a couple of Orc boys in between him and Mazdamundi. Mazdamundi, it looks like, dropped his attack order. Could have been an absolute disaster for Wurzag, but he actually probably going to be able to squeak away here as soon as that drops. They need stabbing, has been used on Mazdamundi, debuffing his armor down to only, quote-unquote, 100. And yeah, Wurzag, there we go. He uses his net there, his own Effigy of the Git. He's going to pop his leadership buff and then pull the heck away from Mazdamundi. Wa also being popped at this point. The little Gobbo boss comes in here. He's going to get some hits on Mazdamundi. The Wurzag also pulls back around. Ooh, this is a risky dive, especially because Apotheosis is going to pop there. Mazdamundi will continue healing, but it looks like Wurzag's going to keep up the pressure, try and rout Mazdamundi off here. The Cold One Riders do respond, though, and they'll be able to screen those cavalry models out pretty effectively. Likewise, the Thunderous One also fighting here. So a very pitched engagement there. Black Orcs, meanwhile, a little bit of a mistake by Maker here, letting those Cold One Riders get caught by the Black Orcs without getting the charge there. They will take some decent damage, and the problem... yeah, there's a few problems. Number one is the Spider's very healthy. Number two is Wurzag is not. And number three is Mazdamundi can start to heal himself, and he's got plenty of healing cap space left, as long as Maker can keep him from getting caught out too hard. But the pigs come to screen Wurzag, similar to what we saw before with the Lizard Cavalry there. Likewise, the Ragnarok Queen comes back to deal with the Thunderous One. A lot of routing units here for the Greenskins, though. You can see that pulls balance of power back pretty well. The Air Boys are shooting in. They're not the most accurate. They might be doing a little bit of friendly fire, honestly, but just focusing on whatever here. You can see, though, the leadership of the Ragnarok's not great. Even the ROR here, Queen, definitely not amazing. I haven't seen too many of the summons be used yet either. I don't know. Might be that Guac is forgetting to actually use the summons, perhaps, but it would definitely be nice to have some extra bodies in here just soaking the hits and kind of chasing, like, especially chasing these skinks around and so forth. But Mazdamundi's still very low, kind of gets himself exposed to the Spider here as the rest of the supporting troops are gone away. And did Wurzag go down right there? I think Wurzag just went down right there. I see some splattered something here. Oh no, Wurzag! No. No, he'll be fine. He'll be back dancing for us in no time. Mazdamundi again pulling back away, though, continuing to get that Apotheosis. You do see a Spiderling summon here now. Might just be baiting directly the drop rocks, but yeah, they definitely need to come rear charge these Cold One Riders, try and bail out the Queen. It doesn't look like the Queen's routed, though, and that's going to put a big dent in the balance of power for the Greenskins, as they are now... Oh, there's another Spiderling to summon. Okay, so he has been using it. I've just been missing it. Yeah, like, even these Black Orcs are wanting to rout right now. If he can get all of these troops back from rout, then it definitely still has a great chance to win this, but the Greenskins' leadership issues definitely showing in force right now. Looks like the Thunderous One did use up the last of its ammunition as well, so not what was looking initially pretty rough for Maker. He's been able to turn around here, and Mazdamundi just kind of affords you the stability. As long as he doesn't straight up go down, he's kind of like Volkmar, and as long as he doesn't absolutely go down, you can almost always recover him and kind of get him back in the battle. But you can see, like I said, as these troops start to rally, that balance of power will equalize considerably, and if he can get the Queen back in the fight, that'll be awesome. But a nice banishment placement here, even if it doesn't necessarily hit any of those units, just forcing them to move and kind of screening out here. Lizard Cavalry do get netted there, but again, it's more just about keeping the Arachnarok Spider in a position where it can come back. It's not wanting to come back, though. It does have enough leadership there to do so, but it looks like, yeah, Guak's going to go ahead and throw in the towel. Yeah, that's why Wurzag isn't meta anymore. Azag can be a very good pick in this matchup, but if they end up bringing, like, Tempest Slann, then he has a really bad time. So it's an interesting one. Like, a lot of people for the Lizardmen side were complaining that this was a little bit of a rough matchup for Lizardmen when Greenskins got their DLC, but I would argue that Lizardmen still have plenty of tools in this matchup, so yeah. Fun, fun, fun. Speaking of Wurzag, he's fine. He's fine. See, look, he's right here. No problem. I thought the Lizards... I thought Mazdamundi was out, but credit to Maker there, keeping him alive, getting him back, you know, disengaged. Great screening with the Lizard Cav, too. Excellent job kind of bullying the models and keeping them from getting Mazdamundi there. It was impressive. Very impressive. So looks like this is going to be a 3-game series too. Man, that's awesome. We check the other quarters so far still. Yeah, it looks like Puggington, you prevailed over Chosen One, so the winner of this one will be facing you. Okay, makes sense. Aaron and Showtime still doing theirs. Faust and Geo still doing theirs. So, yeah, looking good so far. Guak did bring a DLC unit. He brought the Ragnarok Queen. That's definitely a DLC unit. I guess none of the most recent DLC units, which, I don't know, Stone Trolls, like, they were kind of meta in that matchup for a while, but I honestly think they get stepped on by the lizard monsters a little bit too hard. I don't know if you can reliably use them here. Yeah, it's a good one, though. Definitely a good one. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, Anthony. People, like, kind of overreacted because it went from being, like, pretty Lizardmen favored, although I would argue that Greenskin still had some tools there. It went from being pretty Lizardmen favored to pretty even. Yeah, so a lot of people overreacted by thinking that Lizards were weak, but Lizards are probably a top-tier faction, if not for a couple matchups. Like some of the armor-piercing missile matchups that are really tough for them, like Coast. Yeah, I mean, River Troll Hag is okay. She definitely has some great uses, and controlling dinosaurs' movements can be one of them, like the Mither there would have been pretty nice to have. Actually, I liked Skarsnik before in this matchup, and I still like Skarsnik in this matchup. But yeah. Embedding Footlords within infantry. Yeah, that's what I would do, is I would have Skarsnik fight on top of Black Orcs. And with this Fungi now, it's even stronger, although he's kind of a little bit expected. So he can't get beat up by Saurus as well, and there's kind of just some different considerations, but I could dig up some of my old videos and look at some of my older builds where I used Skarsnik before the DLC, but yeah, even now he's even better. I would say probably I would go with him, honestly, in this matchup, because he's like a spider almost, but not as big. He has the fungi. There's definitely some things. Yeah, lizards are one of the strongest factions in the game, absolutely. And as I mentioned in my video that I released last night, they're the best faction if you can't afford any DLC. That's the best faction to take. Ooh, need to get some coffee. So yeah, after this we'll be taking a break. I will direct the others to go ahead and do the quarters, send me replays, and we'll have a look. Alright, I'm gonna say a spoiler alert. I would also prefer no one spoil this in the chat if you know. But just fair warning, spoiler alert, if you're washing your dishes or painting your models or whatever, quickly scramble and wipe your hands off and mute your phone if you don't want to hear a spoiler for the tournament that's happening right now. You ready? And yeah, so Crabling's already through to the semis, so we'll be having a look. It looks like it was a 2-0 series. And I do have the replays from him, I believe. Excellent. But yes, yeah, it'll be a pretty short break. It'll only be like 5-10 minutes in between. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, just looking at some things here. Cool, cool. These guys are just working through their pick and bans right now. Go get a double espresso for real though. I need some caffeine of some kind. I'm gonna run to the convenience store and grab some coffee. Just across the corner. And when I say run, I do literally mean I'll probably jog there just to wake myself up as well. But yeah, awesome. It's been a pleasure so far today. We've still got plenty more, so don't go away. After this, we'll be bringing it back with another stream for the late round games. Wurzag, I don't know. Wurzag's pretty good, but it's an interesting one. Lizardmen is a very interesting matchup. Like, that's one that I could theory craft around in for a while. Yeah, Wurzag overall, like for all matchups, I would say is probably still the most competitive. Although Azag is so good now, man. With his buffs, he's so much better. Roll the ads, right? For real. Yeah, no, I don't have any sponsorships or ads or anything. Maker going into Empire, though. As Guac flips to Lizardmen, so switching the Lizardmen side, and the Empire comes in for Maker. Definitely very strong in this matchup, so let's see what they can do. Yeah, Chiefs are 350, I think, baseline. I'm a huge fan. Hold your breath for 40 seconds, trick your body into survival mode. Ah, Shetland. Maybe I'll try that. Cool, cool. Refresh challenge again, just to check. Even Star versus Energized. Still going, probably almost done. If all of these are 3-game series, which it looks like they all may be, because they're all taking some time. Aaron, Showtime still going. Faust, Geo still going. But we've got some time, I think, to kill. Me to go grab some cafefe and such. But yeah, Toothgrass Hill's the map. The changes to Azag, so his items, he got like usable items in multiplayer. Previously, none of his legendary items had any active effects, and therefore they weren't usable in multiplayer. Now, though, he has Azag's Zard armor, gives an AoE 30 defense and 24 defense and 30 armor, which is really nice considering that's 2 traits that Oryx generally lack. And the second is his Slaga's Slashes is now a constant plus 10 melee attack in an AoE, which is pretty big for the greenskins. I mean, they already have good damage stats, so just giving them that extra little boost melee attack. What it means is that he's one of the better support lords. If he's second really only to Wurzag in terms of support capabilities. In terms of greenskins lords, and because he's a flying deathcaster, like, he is less vulnerable in certain situations than Wurzag. So yeah, that's what Azag is good for. Yeah, Turin, right? It's going great, man. 100+ people, and I mean we're making pretty good time so far. Already one of the quarters is done, so yeah, and all the other quarters are almost set. Like, we're starting to get through that, so yeah, thanks, Turin, much appreciated, of course. And I will not forget this time. I mean, maybe I should leave it up there just so that Turin donates again, but I will remove it. Wurzag, dancing Wurzag there. Thanks again. Here we are. This is the rubber match between Maker and Guac. Whoever wins this goes on to face Reginald Puggington in the semi-final. And let's look first at, of course, the Empire. 3 cannons, including Hammer of Witches, or no, just regular old cannons, nice and cost-effective. 3 war wagons, bunch of state troops, Marcus Wolfheart, and a healer. No, not Marcus, Carl. Interesting. Definitely a left hook there. We've got some... Oh, no, so not just state troops. It's only Sigmar's Sons, actually, and Flagellants. All the Unbreakables. Very interesting. Flagellants, from what I remember, trade pretty bad with Saurus, but maybe it's different. I think Saurus just do enough weapon damage that they, like, not quite one-shot the Flagellants, but they're pretty close to it. For Sigmar, yes. Cool. Cold One Riders, we've got Feral Bastili, Tehannawin, wild Tehannawin pick from Guac. Man, Guac, I see why you're a fan, Shetland. Guac has come in with some wild builds, and this is definitely one of them. I mean, literally, like Lore of Beasts, like Wild Skink. Fun stuff. Guac going to be taking the high ground, whereas with the artillery and such, makes sense that Maker would want to set up in the flat space here, so they're going to be kind of turning to face each other. Triple cannons is a lot. It's a lot of investment in artillery. It just kind of depends on if they can pay for themselves before lizards get into combat or not, but this Lizardman build is almost entirely melee. I'm not saying that the Empire are going to lose purely because of that. Carl is definitely a powerhouse, and he could potentially get in, snipe Tehannawin, but I will say, most of the games I've seen recently that feature this kind of very melee-centric Lizardman army, they will overwhelm these ranged-focused builds. 3 cannons might not seem like that much, but just in terms of resource values, you know, you've got the 3 cannons plus the 3 war wagons, all pretty close to the same cost, versus, again, only the 2 skink javelins in terms of ranged units. In practice, that means we've got nice mid-tier infantry that should trade well with the flagellants and so forth. Cold One Riders, Cold One Spear Riders, plenty of them as well. 5 total cavalry units for the Lizardmen, plus Tehenowen and his Manticore buds. So it's going to be tough to protect all of this, is I guess what I'm getting at here. There's not too many units, so we do have some State Troop Spears, of course. Lack of cavalry could be an issue. I mean, granted, the cavalry mostly will just die to the Lizard Cavalry, so it's not like you really want them here, but it's interesting. Alright. They're off. Lizards, like I said, taking the hill, getting a nice visibility position here. Cold One Riders, got to be a little bit careful as they come forward. They'll take pretty effective damage from those wagons of war. Carl might be coming for a quick hit and run as well, but nice little poke and prod. Not too much right off the bat, but go ahead and pull away there. Ooh, Carl gets eaten by some javelins, or eats some javelins, rather. Not a big deal, but some very cost-effective damage from those skink javs. Throwing directly at the Emperor. Nice value. Yeah, really nice value. They didn't quite use up all their javelins, but considering how cheap of a unit that is and how expensive Carl is, it's not bad at all. Speaking of Lord sniping, Tehenowen also in a position where he's going to take some poke and prod from the war wagons, but he can kind of avoid this damage somewhat. The cannons are also focusing on him, so Tehenowen really needs to get back and out of range here and not take these shots to the face, because he's a big part of this Lizardman push here. I mean, he's not that expensive, but he's decently expensive. And the Empire cannons are making their presence felt so far. You know, how much can they pay for themselves before the full engagement gets underway? Hard to say. Right now, they're kind of spreading around a little bit, rather than focusing all on one target. But the Feral Bastillodons, again, targets that they're going to want to go after. There's just a lot of things to have to shoot here, which I guess is kind of the idea with Guac's build. But Saurus just about in combat now. This kind of slower part of the army catching up, where we're going to get a nice big engagement. Look at the damage, though. You guys were memeing about how bad war wagons are. Look at the damage. We're going to keep the health bars of the lizards up as these war wagons crossfire. They're doing some very consistent damage to that Feral Bastillodon. It, granted, is cheaper than any one of them, but still, it's something you have to deal with, and so you're dealing with it that way. The cannons, likewise, are able to generate probably at least this one paying for itself by seeing off these Cold One Riders before the other ones can get into combat there. Franz also jumps down. Tehenowen manages to avoid getting killed by him, but here we go. Yeah, Saurus, as I imagine, would just wreck Flagellants because they do so much damage. Flagellants with very low defensive stats will take all of the damage. I mean, granted, they'll keep fighting until the end of days, but Tehenowen still, again, has to be careful. Cannons now all focusing on him, which is absolutely the right call. Probably should have been doing that from the beginning, as he is the most high-value target, and he doesn't have a whole lot of HP either. And relatively big hitbox, not a huge hitbox, but Horse Lords will get hit pretty consistently by cannons. You can see he starts to get lit up there and decides to move up and out of the way. He could try and charge in here and fight Carl, but not going to be the greatest idea, although with some Cold One Spear Riders support, this is maybe not too bad. They now charge in and start to get an engagement with this Bastillodon here. It looks like there's the Manticore summon that we've been looking for. Now the Manticore probably just drop down and take out this caster rather than trying to pressure Franz too much, or you could even smack my mic stand, my bad. You could even drop down and, you know, get a little bit of chunk of these war wagons here, but it looks like the Lizard Cav going to do that instead. Cold One Spear Riders will deal with the war wagons very quickly. The cannons also might be friendly firing Franz a bit, but the Tehenowen definitely taking a pretty significant amount of that damage. Kind of blocks the shot with the Bastillodon there and now pulls away. The issue is that Franz can heal, Tehenowen cannot, right? And Tehenowen might have the much stronger kind of ground and melee force as a result, but Franz will be able to beat a lot of these units here. It's tough to say. It's definitely anyone's game still. Tehenowen now getting a little bit of extra winds of magic, probably looking for another Manticore summon. Some of the cannons have been shut down over on this side, but yeah, definitely want to try and focus the healer if you can, so that Franz won't get the benefit of that healing. Henowin charges back in for another timing push, gets a couple of really big hits on that Jade Wizard there, but here comes Carl. Carl now jumps to Henowin himself and gets jumped by another Manticore, so both players just kind of going all in on that engagement there. But yeah, things are starting to tell, I think, for the Lizards. Like I mentioned, just not an inability to protect these ranged units as the cannons start to get rolled up there by Lizard Cav. Same thing over here. Cold One Spear Rider is going to roll up those cannons. It's still winnable for the Empire, but the healer going down is a pretty big deal, and Carl's also taking a significant amount of damage. If they're not able to recover the healer and heal that damage to Carl, I don't know that he can get back in this. War Wagons have a decent amount of ammo left, but they're now kind of just kiting away. It's a tough situation for them to be in. Nice Flock of Doom there as well. To Henowin, it's pretty low. Carl could potentially go for a snipe onto Henowin, but he's a little bit busy with the Manticore pressuring them. He has to terrify away these Cold One Spear Riders real quick, although that does kind of block the Manticore on the War Wagons. Carl just setting in his wagon fort here. Now jumps back up in the air once they clear a helipad for him. And yeah, now he's going to come seek out Tehenowin and try and finish off Prophet of Sotek, see if he can bring this match back. You can see Tehenowin's running. He does not take the full charge animation to the face. He manages to sweep underneath Franz while Franz is charging down, which is sometimes a danger for Flying Lords, but it looks like Franz will be able to get through. Doesn't quite connect on that attack animation there. Gwak's doing a great job dodging with Tehenowin there and avoiding the damage. War Wagons now turn to shoot Tehenowin though, and I don't know, can he dodge this is the question. Franz is also on his last legs here. Reikland Runefang, Gal Miraz, as he takes damage from the Spear Riders. They now terror out though, just teetering on the edge for the Empire here as Gwak's push is very aggressive. We'll see. Oh man, Prophet of Sotek gets a huge hit from Franz there and actually gets terrified. Now Franz needs to stay in the air as much as possible, get rid of Tehenowin. It's very, very dangerous. Nice regrowth. It looks like the healer did come back from route. Maybe potentially a huge mistake by Gwak letting Maker back in this game. Maker here with Carl being healed. That will start to pull back on army losses and kind of give him a little bit of breathing room, but it's still going to be very tough. I don't think that will be enough, but let's see. He's going to make an attempt here. Carl charging the targets that threaten him most, which is the exact thing you should do in this situation, is to directly target them so they can't charge you, right, with flying units. That's an advantage you have, and the fact that these Lizard Cavalry enrage, they're going to go past the War Wagons. Just a matter of if Franz can survive all these Lizard Cavalry for long enough to rally some of his forces together and maybe go in and finish. Tehenowin literally has 4 HP. So I don't know, though. I don't think Franz can even get back up in the air at this point. He's going to get blocked by the Bastiladon here. The Lizard Cav sweep for a very good surround. Saurus also have pretty good mass, so I think this is it for the Emperor. Yeah, he's now going to rout, and that will trigger army losses. And a series for Gwak. Wow, GG's to both, man. Very good games. Very, very good games. So let's go ahead and update that. Let me just go ahead and check in. It looks like Energized is now playing his games. I'll go ahead and shoot him a message also. Cool, so I'll go ahead and get them started. Same thing too, Puggington, I don't know if you're still watching, but I'll shoot you a message just in case. So you guys can start playing your games. Just go ahead and save the replays for me, please, and send them over. So yeah. Just getting that direction there, and I'm going to go ahead and end the stream for now. I'll create a new stream. You guys will see that pop up. It'll probably be scheduled for about, I don't know, 10 minutes from now or so, 10 to 15 minutes from now. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Don't go away. I'll be right back.